take a deep breath. Do you consider yourself a leader? Now, if you look at your life, you may not be leading a team. You may not be leading a church group. You may not be giving speeches other than here. That does not mean that you are not a leader. Every woman with a desire to serve, with a desire to make a contribution, has the ability to be a leader in her life, in her work, and in the world. I want to start my time with you today by telling you about a couple of my favorite gals from American history. Now, I know most of you are on the East Coast. I live in San Francisco. I'm wondering if anybody knows about two ladies that are from Boston in history in the early 1900s called Harriet Hemingway and Mina Hall. Anybody know about them? I got to get to gallery view so I can see if anybody has a hand. Okay, no. All right. Harriet and Mina, they're friends. They live in Boston around the 1910, 1915, and they are wanting more than what they're doing with their life, which was, at the time, women weren't necessarily working. They weren't necessarily getting educated. Most of them were raising kids. And one day, Harriet and Mina, they're walking down the street and they see this other two friends walking down the street. But these gals have hats with birds on them. And there was one hat with 12 crows going all the way around the brim of a hat. Now, Harriet and Mina, they were animal lovers, and they did not like this one bit. So Harriet says to her friend Mina, I think we got to do something about that. And Mina says to Harriet, well, I'll do something if you'll do something. Now, right there, they had their support of each other. And Harriet and Mina started the first Audubon Society in Massachusetts. And the purpose of the Audubon Society is to protect birds. They got laws passed that made it illegal for people to kill birds for the purpose of fashion. And they even made it so certain rare birds, the feathers, it would be illegal for you to possess or sell them. Now, I tell you about Harriet and Mina because their leadership and their ability to change laws and get people engaged and bring the awareness of this inappropriateness to their communities did not start with their walk down the street and when they noticed the ladies in the hats. Their leadership started years before when they got involved in the suffragist movement. Now, they didn't give speeches. They didn't chain themselves to the White House. What they did was they protested. They got other ladies involved. They did what we do when we start volunteering usually, stuffing envelopes and hanging flyers. And I tell you about my favorite gals, Harriet and Mina, because they started where they were and their leadership grew and their abilities grew, and then their leadership flourished and it changed history. I want you today, in this moment, to see yourself as a leader if you're not already. Yesterday I talked to a couple gals starting their businesses. And I've been doing my thing now for almost 30 years, helping women grow businesses. And in this time, I was chatting with them separately. I gave them a lot of tips and ideas for getting going with their speaking, getting going with getting clients. And it made me think back to the very beginning of how I got started in my business. I used to own a cafe and a catering business. Tables outside, cappuccinos, sandwiches, salads. And I loved having a business, but I didn't love wearing tomato sauce every day and schlepping big trays around town. And one day this lady walks in my cafe and she says to me, Katerina, thank you so much for the advice you gave me the last time I was here. Now, the truth is, I didn't even remember that conversation. You know what, though? This conversation, I have never forgotten. And the reason is because her gratitude literally touched my heart. I felt a pang of bliss in my chest. And I said, this is what I'm going to do with my life. Now, I share that with you because way back when, I didn't think I knew much. I, though, had enough knowledge to help this other gal who was a little less along the path than myself. And today, I want to share with you many insights and super tips that I have picked up over the years to support you, not only in being a more confident, compelling, outstanding speaker, also to support you to see inside yourself that you have leadership galore. And your job is to cultivate it, to amplify it, and to move towards mastery with your leadership skills and your leadership development. Does that sound good? I'm hoping, Ashley, I'm blessing to be with you because you're on screen. Thank you very much. Everybody, it would give me a great pleasure and privilege if you would join me on screen. And if you're not up for that, that's okay. But you know what? The speech is way better when I can look into, thank you, Mariah and Pierrette and Natasha, if I said it right, and Caroline, bing, 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 you make me bliss. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sorrel, if I said it right. All right, beautiful. Okay, let's take another deep breath. Now, while I've been with you so far this morning, I've been observing your talking, your speaking, and I've added a few more things to my list. Here's the first thing, though, I want to share with you. I want you to think of the word cape, C-A-P-E. And the first reason is because sheroes wear capes, right? We wear capes. And CAPE stands for certainty, authenticity, positivity, and enthusiasm. Certainty is what I'm discussing with you right now. Certainty is the knowledge that you have massive value to bring. Authenticity is you being yourself. What I want to say, though, is the best version of yourself. Positivity. Think about your life. Well, I guess on the cell phone too. I remember way back when I first got caller ID. Now, I was married at the time. I'm divorced now. And my husband installs these phones that show you who's calling. And I said to him, why would I need caller ID? I always pick up the phone. I'm always happy to talk to everybody. You know what, though? As soon as he installed the caller ID phones, I started to notice that sometimes I didn't pick up the phone. And you know why? Because when I saw the name, I immediately thought to myself, either consciously or unconsciously, but mostly consciously, is that going to be an uplifting conversation, or is that going to be a depresso conversation? And I noticed that if it was going to be a depresso conversation, I wasn't picking up the phone. Have you had this experience, my friends? Now we do it on our cell phones. Nobody wants to be with anybody that is going to bring them down. And the E, of course, is for enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm is your energy behind your voice and your message. I want to go back to positivity for a second. As I told you, I live in San Francisco. Beautiful city, right on the water. And one day, it's the first day of me leading my speaker mastermind program. And we're meeting at the Italian Museum in San Francisco in their library. I rented the space. This is before I have my own center. Now I have my own center in San Francisco. We're in the Italian library, beautiful space, and it's right by the water. And there's a beautiful view of the bridge, and it's a place where there's a lot of community building and museums, and there's about 500 parking spaces. And we're about 20 minutes into the day. All of the wonderful women in the room have just finished introducing themselves, and the doors fly open, and this woman walks in, and she doesn't even say anything before she starts complaining about traffic, complaining about parking. And I thought to myself in this moment, this is what I thought. I said, I am so sorry for her, because she just has made the worst impression with all of these amazing women. I want you to remember this and notice this, because sometimes people confuse being authentic with having to vent everything. And I want you to know that complaining and being negative doesn't look good on any of us. Now, I'm not saying that when you're with your girlfriends in private, or when you're talking to your counselor or your therapist or whatever support system you have in your life, yes, you can talk about that stuff. I remember one year I thought, my coach must think there's something wrong with me, because she's always hearing me complain. Well, that's where I did my complaining, not with my clients, not with the people that are my vendors, not with any of those people, right? Very, very important. So let's take a deep breath. And I want you to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you complain? How much negativity comes out of your mouth? And the truth is, positivity is a choice. And I invite you to look at your level of positivity. And in fact, one of my favorite books, 100 Simple Secrets of Happy People by Dr. David Niven, it's all about studies. He takes all this research and he makes it very easy to understand. And what he says is that the studies show that when we simply set an intention that we're going to be more positive, we can take our worrying and negative thoughts from 70% all the way down to 40%. Isn't that exciting? 40%. I'm inviting you to start. Well, first of all, I'm inviting you right now. Let's take a deep breath. My friends, who wants to set an intention with me to be more positive? And if your smile's not on the screen, you can give me a thumbs up, or you can give me a heart, or a heart is my favorite reaction. And you can tell me, okay, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Hope. Okay, good. Pirette, thank you. Mariah, mwah. Bing, bing. My friends, does it serve you to choose positivity? Thank you, Taylor. Absolutely. Sorrel, thank you. Are you with me, everybody? I want you to pay attention to this, because positivity is alluring. And as leaders, we want to be alluring. Negativity is going to repel people. Except for, thank you, Terry, except for those people that want to commiserate with you. And those are not people you want to hang out with. With me? Okay, let's take a deep breath. Now, I'm gonna go a little advanced now, and then I'm gonna come back to some basic tips. Okay, does that sound good, my friends? Okay, so here's what I want to tell you. A woman leader, any leader, an authentic leader, here's what you want to get clear on. What's your mission? What's your message? What's your platform? What's your plan? And what community are you going to associate yourself with? Now, you all already have an amazing community that you are engaged in right here. This is a community where you come and grow and thrive and learn together. That's beautiful. Do you have other communities that you're affiliated with that are doing the same thing, supporting you to grow and thrive? I'm hoping so. Let's see. Someone is asking me for a link to this speech. My friend, this speech is not written down. All I have is an outline. And let me tell you why. Because reading does not work for speaking. And unfortunately, on Zoom, too many people read their speech. It does not communicate the same way. Please embrace that and understand that and learn that, my friends. And you know what? You don't need to read your speech. You need to get clear on what you want to say. Because you know why? Life is one extemporaneous speech. All speaking is public speaking, unless you're talking to yourself. But actually, even when you're talking to yourself, because you are listening. My friends, the goal is not to speak and be able to speak. The goal is to master speaking. Let me tell you right now what mastery is. You probably know, but I'm going to remind you, okay? Mastery is when you do something without a lot of preparation, without a lot of resources. Resources are time, energy, money. That's resources. And you're blissing while you're doing it. That's mastery. And I want you to think about you're speaking from day one. Those of you that have been at this a while, you probably are a lot better than when you started. Probably takes a lot less preparation, takes a lot less resource. You're moving towards mastery. Here's what I want you to know, though. However close you get to mastery, it starts to move. I feel like about 8 years ago, I had a glimpse of mastery. Now, I feel more masterful, but I notice that every year there's more and more levels of mastery. Now, I'm sure most of you have read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. If you haven't, put it on the top of your list. What Malcolm says in his book is that it takes 10,000 hours to get to mastery. Now that is a very depresso number. Would you agree, my friends? 10,000. But here's what I want you to know. Every hour in is 1 hour closer to mastery. My clients are all entrepreneurs, women in business. And I don't want them to give 1 speech a month or 2 speeches a month. I want them to give 8, 10. Why? Because I want them to accelerate their path to mastery. And this is why you want to grab every opportunity to speak. And Rachel, I got a big gold star for you. You know why? Because Rachel used her voice to get an opportunity that she thought she had value to bring to. And Rachel, as you said, you got to know the first time. That's okay, my friends, because you know why? When we ask for what we want, now people know what we want. And the next time, Rachel got what she wanted. This is very, very important for us to recognize. Use your voice. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Community, you've got that. And by the way, hopefully you're all getting together and you're practicing speaking outside of Toastmasters. Have a speaking circle where you get together in Zoom and you all talk for 10 minutes and then give each other some support. The more you speak, the better you're going to get at speaking and the faster you're going to move towards mastery. Now what I'm talking about is your plan. Having an ongoing structure in addition to this that supports you with your speaking. That's part of your plan. Setting a goal to do 5 talks a month. That's a plan. Now, you might say 5 talks a month. My friends, you got 365 days in the year. Don't you want to be doing some talking every day? Why? Because that's going to move you towards mastery. Now, if that felt like way too much to you, then here's what I want to say. Whatever you're doing, do more. Because mastery is in your future. But is it in your future in 1 year, 5 years, or 25 years? Based on your engagement in speaking. Next thing I said was your platform. Your platform is what you have clarity on that you really care about, that you want to make a difference in. It might be engagement, employee engagement where you work. It might be a cause that you really care about. What is it that you want to be about? And as you know, there's a lifetime supply of organizations that would love your support. One of the things I do through my business is we raise money for women and girls, entrepreneurship training, and education. Every time we have a big event, we partner with a charity and we have them come and talk for a little bit. And then I ask everyone to make a donation and we raise a lot of money. What do you care about? And you don't have to be a CEO to get involved in a cause. One of my clients, she's raised in the last few months $5,000 for Alzheimer's. Her mom died of Alzheimer's. What do you care about? And by the way, your philanthropy and your community service is a great place to cultivate and amplify your leadership. Now, what's your message? I want you to get clear on a message that really matters to you. My message is exactly this. I want every woman on the planet to know that she matters. I want every woman to know that she has massive value to bring, and that the world is waiting for her to bring more of her massive value. What's your message? And my mission is to support women to realize just that, the message. Mission, message, platform, plan, community. These are things I invite you to start to put your attention on. Okay, so now let's talk about what are some ways that while you're doing all of this, you can communicate more effectively, more compellingly, and have more engagement. Because my friends, engagement is the queen of everything. You've probably heard content is king. Well, maybe engagement is the queen of everything. We want people to engage with us in conversation, engage with us in any meetings that we're running. We don't want people in meetings that are not really there. We want people that are engaged, right? So let's talk about how we can get more engagement through our leadership, through our speaking. First thing, I'm going to start with some Zoom tips. My friends, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I'm standing. Stand for speaking. Why? Because we tend to slouch and lean over and put our elbows on the desk when we are not standing. Your posture is so much better when you're standing. And by the way, super tip alert, I am standing on a fatigue mat like they use in the restaurants so that it's easy to stand for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or however long I'm standing. Stand. Of course, great lighting. And I know a lot of your setups are not this way, but I'm going to tell you, have a solid wall behind you, because otherwise people are looking all over in your background. And that is a distraction. And the whole point of our visual presentation when we are speaking is to eliminate distractions. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Your hair. I see many of you, your hair is nice and pulled back. Beautiful, because we don't want to be doing this during our talk, right? Necklaces, they go like this during a talk. Distraction, distraction. Bracelets that make noise, distraction. The bookshelf behind you with all the titles, distraction. Of course, things moving around behind you, distraction. Look at your environment. You want one focal point. One, that's my one focal point, my flowers, in addition to you. Now, I know you've got offices all different ways, but I invite you to have your attention on this because you want to have no distractions from your amazing message. Also, great lighting. I've got one of those big lights behind me so that there's lighting in the area. Let's take another deep breath. Here's another big crutch a lot of speakers use way too much. I'm not saying don't use it, but I'm saying don't use it the whole time. PowerPoint. Why? Because you're so small next to the big PowerPoint. And PowerPoint can be a crutch. Again, I'm not saying don't use it, but use it minimally. Because people want to be with you and your message and get your energy. And you want to look in their eyes. Here's another one. My friends, You want your camera above the top of your head so that they can see the top of your head. And you don't want too much head space. That is head space. You want it to be just right above your head. Why? Because you want to fill up the box. You know what? I'm going to take a moment right here and I'm going to pause for any questions, any comments, any revelations. Okay, my fabulous friends. Well, I will keep going. And by the way, here's another super tip. Some of you have done a great job at this today, especially those of you that were speaking during the networking session. You always want to get your voice in the room. Did everybody hear that? Write that down. You always want to get your voice in the room. And this is also why you are on screen. You want to be present because people will remember you when you're present. They won't remember you if you don't talk and you don't come on screen. And you know what else, my friends? Smile. Your smile is alluring. Now, why am I using this word alluring? I know we're not talking about dating, but alluring is when people feel comfortable with you. They feel good being with you. They notice you. That's alluring. And that's what your smile does. Also, listening to some of you this morning. Now, right now, I'm here, you're there. I could bring my voice way down like this, and you can still hear me, right? Projection adds energy. And some of you, I want to encourage you. You need more projection, not to be heard, but because it adds energy and, super tip alert, it adds authority. Are you with me? Notice your projection and amplify your projection for speaking. And remember, it's all public speaking. Now, another thing we do, and when I say we, I mean women, another thing we do when we might be a little nervous is we go too fast. And what we need is for all of our ideas to land, for them to be absorbed, for them to be comprehended. And if we go too fast and we keep going too fast, then what happens is the audience doesn't stay with us. And then their mind wanders or they start to feel overwhelmed. And what happens when people feel overwhelmed? They disengage. And what's the queen of everything? Engagement, right? Pay attention to your pace. And I love that Anita said that Lauren in her talk wanted to focus on vocal variety. And Lauren, you did a great job on the vocal variety. What is vocal variety? Now, did you hear what I just said? What is vocal variety? I added a question tone to my voice. No, now I'm going to say, I could say like this. I'm so thrilled to be with you today. That doesn't sound very thrilling, does it? But if I said, I am so thrilled to be with you today. Do you believe me, my friends? Yes, thank you, Kathy. I'm speaking with sincerity and it's coming through. Pay attention. Here's what we want. We want our words to be illustrated by the tone of our voice. And by the way, my friends, super tip alert, this is another reason why reading does not work, because you cannot have vocal variety when you're reading. You can have a little bit, but you can't have a lot. I invite you to pay attention to your vocal variety. So what does that mean? Illustrate the words with your voice. It means that if you're excited about something, have that come through. If you're depresso, I'm Italian, so I like to say depresso. If you're depresso about something, make it sound depresso. If you're curious, make it sound curious. How do you do that? The voice has a little more breath. It gets a little higher. You open your eyes big. Your facial expression, all of that too. We want to illustrate the words with our facial expression also. You don't necessarily have to use your hands, but it does help sometimes. All right, let's do a few more. Bing, bing, bing. And you know what? Terry, thank you, Terry. Let's do a few more. Okay, let's do it. My friends, when you are leading a meeting, I invite you to get as many voices in the room as possible. And that's why I loved the networking segment in the beginning. The more voices you can invite to speak, the more engagement you're going to have. Get good at remembering names. Now it's very good. We can see everybody. Also, write down something you liked that you want to note for later, but who said it? Take notes, because notes help you build rapport so you can call back to something that happened before. And also recognize that when you're the leader of a meeting or a speech live and in person, you want everybody in the room to have this experience. You want them to feel seen, heard, welcomed, valued, included. And the more you can do that, the more people will lean into your leadership. Because it's not just about being a leader and having leadership qualities. It's about other people wanting to give you the authority to be the leader. Are you with me on that? Okay, good. I'm going to pause here again for any questions, any comments, any revelations. Nobody wants to talk to me. Sorry for me. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Well, my friends, here's what I want to tell you. I have a free workshop coming up. I love to support you. If you want to come and hang out with me, I'm going to give you some free resources. There's a lot on speaking, and I am here to support you to grow and thrive and step into your leadership even more. Remember, you, my friend, have massive value to bring. There is a lifetime supply of people to serve. Be loud. Be proud. Be like Rachel and seize every opportunity to use your voice to put yourself in more leadership situations. And if nobody is being a yes for you to be a leader, then you create your own opportunities in communities like this and in other communities. My friends, it's my honor and privilege to be with you. Call on me anytime for any reason. I'm here to support you to grow and thrive, learn and bliss even more in your business and your career. Thank you.